Hi, my name is Peter Talhofer, and this is my son,
Kellan.
and we're here to teach you how to read Torah in Hebrew. As you learn to read Torah in Hebrew, and as you do it every day, you'll find puns, chiasms, hyperlinks, treasures you never knew were there. The first time I started reading through Torah in Hebrew, I came across Genesis chapter 22, where God says to Abraham, Kach na, take now your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love. And I was reading that, and I'd seen na a few times already, and I thought, that doesn't mean take now, that means please take. So I looked up every English translation. They all said take now, and I thought, what do I know? I'm brand new to Hebrew. So I just forgot about it. A few months later, Danny Ben-Gigi came to our congregation to teach us how to read Hebrew. And in his talk, he said, Hebrew is precise. It cuts like a razor, much more precise than the English translations. He said, there are translation errors on every page of the Tanakh. Like take, for example, Genesis chapter 22. That doesn't mean take now. That's please take. The difference, he said, is God saying to Abraham, Abraham, take now your son, your only son, versus God saying to Abraham, I know the pain this will cause. Please take your son. What a difference, and how encouraging. So as you read Hebrew and Torah, you too will find treasures you had no idea were there. To find out more, go to my website, torahinmyheart.com. Please like and share our Facebook page, Torah in My Heart. If you have any questions about Hebrew and how to read or Torah, you can email me at petertalhofer@gmail.com. And I recommend you buy my book, Torah, 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 the only verse in the entire Tanakh with the words new and covenant in it is in Jeremiah 31. That passage is quoted in Hebrews 8 in the New Covenant. Both passages say that in God's new covenant, the Torah is to be written on our heart. The Torah has not been done away with. The Torah is to be written on our heart. Studying Torah helps your Hebrew. Studying Hebrew helps understanding Torah. This program is based on Danny Ben-Gigi's Hebrew-English Phonetic Bible. Danny Ben-Gigi is a native Israeli, a native Hebrew speaker. He taught biblical Hebrew at Arizona State University for 15 years, and he now has his own Hebrew educational software company, HebrewWorld.com. Danny is an expert in Hebrew. You can trust his transliteration, which is the basis of what we're going to be showing you now. You can go to my website and click on the books page to find his CD, or you can get it another place. Each verse in the Tanakh on this CD is listed 4 different ways. You have English, Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, and transliteration. Transliteration is what we're going to look at right now. So Kellan's going to read to you the first verse of the Bible right off the transliteration.
Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz.
So a native speaker would understand that, and if you were to read that, a native speaker would understand you also. That's the easy way, but I imagine most of you want more than the transliteration. So what we're going to talk about now is how to learn to read Hebrew. And the thing about what I'm going to show you is this is an ongoing process of how to read. How to read Hebrew is actually very simple. What you will do is you will read Torah in Hebrew. And as you read Torah in Hebrew, you'll get better and better at it. So if you go to my website, click on the Hebrew page, you can click on Read Torah in Hebrew, and you get this printout, which this video follows. So if you want to pause now and print this out or get it on another computer, we're following this printout. Right away, I start with a warning. This is hard. I tore my hair out learning to read Hebrew. We've spent a lot of time together, hundreds or thousands of hours we've spent reading Hebrew. Be prepared to put in a lot of effort. Imagine you're going to run a marathon in 6 months, and you can't even run now. Put that kind of effort into reading Hebrew, and you'll do great. So Kellan's going to read the Aleph Bet and show us how it's pronounced. You can see it starts on the right and reads to the left. Hebrew goes from right to left. A lot of people like to say, well, that's backward. So this entire Tanakh was completed in Hebrew about 1,000 years before English even existed as a language. So guess which language is backward? All right, Kellan, go ahead.
Okay. Aleph, Bet, Vet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kof, Chof, Lamed, Mem, and Nun. Okay, so here you see on the right that there's a dagesh in the bait. But when you take it away, it's called veit. It's the same with the kof. When it has the dagesh, it's kof. But when you take it away, it's chof. And you see here, the chaz in both chet and chof is like bach. Samech, ayin, pei, fe, tzadi, kuf, reish, shin, sin, tov. Now here's the dagesh again. When the dagesh is in the pei, it's pei. But when you take it away, it's fe. Now here you see, here you have the dot in the right, which makes it shin. But when you put it in the left, it's sin. And we only pronounce this letter tav, but not this letter. And here we have the final chof, final mem, final nun, final pei, and final tzadi. And these are only used at the end of a word. Now here you see, this is a regular mem, and you can see at the bottom that there's a slit. But here, the final mem is closed. Now here's the word maim, which is water, and it has both letter variations.
All right, now Kellan's going to show you how to pronounce the vowels.
A, e, I, u, e, o, u.
I used to get the last two confused until Sherry Lush said for the cholam vowel, when you look up in the sky and you see a full moon, you might say,
oh.
And for the sharuk vowel, if you get punched in the gut, you might say,
Ooh.
All right, now Kellan's going to show you how to put letters of consonants and vowels together to make words. And he'll start with a very simple word.
Okay. So here you see we have the letter aleph, which is silent like an ayin. And with the kamatz vowel, it is pronounced ah. Then we take the letter beit. And with the dagesh, it is pronounced ba. But with no dagesh, it is pronounced va. So altogether, it is av, which is father.
Now, Kellan will break down for you how the very first word of Tanakh is pronounced. And it's translated in the beginning.
All right. So here we have the letter beit with the dagesh and the shva vowel, which is be. Then we have the reish with the tsere vowel and the aleph, which is silent, which is re. Then we have the shin, which is pronounced this way because of the dot on the right. Then we have the chirg vowel. Next we have the letter yod, but usually it would be pronounced e. But since we already have the chirg vowel, it is silent. Then we have the tav, so it is sheet. And so altogether, it is bereshit.
Which is just how the transliteration says. That's how you do it, but notice the one Hebrew word, bereshit, is translated into 3 English words. That's because Hebrew takes a root word, then adds prefixes and suffixes to make more English words in translation. Now, with this particular example takes the letter be, which means in, and that's the prefix, and then reshit, which is also from the root rosh. It means the beginning. So altogether, in the beginning. Now, Kellan's going to show you how one Hebrew word in Isaiah 37, verse 7, is translated into 7 English words.
All right. So here we have the Hebrew word vehipaltiv, and it translates into 7 English words. And I will cause him to fall. So the root of this word is nafal.
And you see, this is a Strong's number 5307, and you get that from your Strong's dictionary. In a minute, we'll show you how to get several Strong's dictionaries to find the root.
And you see in English, the root means to fall. So the root is nafal, and the whole word is vehipaltiv. So the vav with the shva vowel is and. Then you have the tav with the chirik vowel and the yod, which is I. Then you have the hey with the chirik vowel, which is will cause. Then you have the vav, which is him. Then you have the pei with the dagesh and the patach vowel, and the lamed with the shiva vowel, which is the root to fall.
So, Hebrew is breaking the code, and that's part of the fun of learning to read Hebrew, is figuring out exactly what those prefixes, suffixes are doing to the root. Now here's a free Strong's resource online called blueletterbible.org. You pull up whatever verse you want. Here we have Genesis 1:1. Click on the Tools tab, you get the verse in Hebrew, and then you also get all the individual root words. You could then click on the Strong's number and get way more. For a long time, this was my favorite app. I've used this probably more than any other. It's Hebrew Bible by Zev Clemenson. I highly recommend it. It's iOS only. You can set it up with Hebrew on one side, English on the other, or all Hebrew. And it has pop-up Strongs. So here you see it shows the root for Reshit. Now my favorite app is Accordance Bible. One advantage of Accordance is it comes with a free ESV with Strongs. So right away you can have a pop-up Strongs. Also, Accordance has the best Hebrew Bible BHS tagged. And what the BHS tagging does is it shows you the grammar. Like for example, the word Reshit, the root is a noun, common, feminine, singular, absolute, meaning beginning or first, with many more ways to search down at the bottom. But it's especially useful with verbs, and it shows you how the verb is conjugated. That might sound boring now, but you're going to love that later on. That's an expensive app. So we've shown you how to read Hebrew. It's very simple. Once you learn it, it's not full of exceptions like English. The letters and vowels pretty much stay constant. So when you have the Bengigi in front of you, study the verse until you know what it means, and then test yourself by blocking out everything except the Hebrew. I used to use a sheet of paper over my computer screen to block out everything else. When you can read and translate the Hebrew correctly, move on to the next verse. Test yourself by blocking that out, and so on. Now, there is a difference between me and Kellan, and I told a psychiatrist one time, I've been studying for several years Hebrew. I just taught my son, and he's right there with me. And she said, well, he does have 3 times as many neurons firing in his brain as you do. But I get up early, and I stay up late. So this old truck stays ahead of this race car. Don't I, Kellan? Yes, I do. Yeah. We're very competitive with our Hebrew. If you get frustrated and you feel you can't keep going any longer, just be a tank, a Hebrew tank. Oh yeah, that's you. Be a tank. Now, another way to be encouraged in Hebrew is to start or join a Hebrew class at your congregation or with your friends. We had a Hebrew congregation class that was very encouraging. I started it because after reading Torah in Hebrew the first time, it was very hard, and I wanted to do it again, but I didn't think I could make myself do it again without encouragement. So we started a class at our congregation. And another good thing about a class, besides the encouragement, is the other people will find treasures that, like, you just missed it, and it's right there, and it's obvious, and it's like, wow. And you get all these different perspectives. So we had a great time, and I'd like to thank Bob and Twitterhild, Chris, Vera, Fran, Sharon, Jeannie and Grace, and especially now Vani and Ann for carrying on the class. These times will get more precious as the years go by. Recommend that you join a group. So some resources that can keep you interested in your Hebrew. This is one, Israel365.com, daily emails with Bible verses in English, Hebrew, and transliteration. Danny Bengigi's Hebrew Phonetic Bible comes with an audio CD. It's too fast to hear, so I got the app Mimi Copy, which slows down the speed without changing the speaker's pitch. Kellan's going to show you his Bible.
All right. So this is a Reader's Hebrew Bible by Zondervan. And the cool thing about this Bible is that here you see at the bottom of the page is a little category for all words used less than 100 times. So you can learn these words.
If you want to unplug, that's the Bible you want. You'll really appreciate being able to go anywhere without a computer and read and understand the Hebrew. Another way to unplug is with a Hebrew scroll. And my first Hebrew class gave this to me, thank you. And this is the little brother for the big Torah scroll. This has no chapter, verse, or book separations. So it was reading Genesis 2 and going into Genesis 3 one time that I first found a Hebrew pun that's there. You can't miss it in this scroll. But you would never find that in English, a deliberate pun to get you to try to connect two very different concepts. I used to get lost when I was reading this scroll. It would take me 5 minutes to find where I'd finished reading the day before, but by the time I got through it, it was a lot easier. Thanks. Now, aleph-beta.org is a great resource. This screenshot is from a series called
Goats, Coats, and Jealousy.
And it talks about how there are specific phrases, Hebrew phrases in the story of Joseph were intentionally designed to take you back to the story of, but you're going to have to find this on your own to find out what story. Also there, you'll find in Aleph-Beta the chiasms, which are only visible through the Hebrew, and they're fascinating. Again, like in the story of Joseph, there's a chiasm that reaches back 10 or 15 chapters, which is how God explained to Joseph exactly what Pharaoh's dream meant. So there's my website, our Facebook page, email me, and my book. We're going to close now with the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. You can find this at aprayertoourfather.com by clicking on Media, Audio, and then Learn the Prayer in Hebrew. They have transliteration, and also they pronounce it out loud so you can learn it. When Yeshua taught his disciples the Lord's Prayer, he wasn't teaching them in English. He was teaching them in Hebrew. So you can learn it exactly as they did it. Avinu sheba shamayim, yitkadesh shimcha, veyitbarech malchukcha, retzoncha yihye asui, bashamayim uva'aretz, veititen lach menu temidit, umechol lanu chatutenu כאשר אנחנו מוחלים לחוטאים לנו. ואל תביאנו לידי ניסיון, ושמרנו מכל רע. Amen. And now we'll close with Ma Tovu. Thank you for joining us.
Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, vani berov chasdecha avo beitecha, אשתחווה לך על קודשך ביראתך. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. אדוני אהבתי מעון ביתך, ומקום משכן כבודך, משכן כבודך, ואני אשתחווה ואקרא אברך לפני אדוני עושי. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. ואני תפילתי לך, אדוני, את רצון אלוהים ברוב חסדך, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת אישך. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך